Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of our Booster Club members for your many donations and much more, your prayers. We visited faraway countries and strange lands. We've even spoken to dignitaries and were detained for spreading the glorious gospel in Cuba. The truth is that the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel were scattered throughout the world. Help us on our journey as we continue to raise up the nation of Israel. 12 tribes worldwide. Join or donate today. Shalom.
Now, y'all familiar with Black Lives Matter, right? Yep. What's been going on to our people, right? You said these are your sons, right? You love your sons, right? Of course. So you want to teach them right? So how are we going to be able to protect our children?
Bring it up.
It's going to take a little more than prayer. You're absolutely right about prayer. What else? Teaching them the right way. All right, I'm gonna show you something. Now we're gonna read something out of a book. I want you to see this book. It's called Unspeakable Acts, Ordinary People: The Dynamics of Torture. Is torture a good thing? What we saw to George Floyd, what was that? That was torture.
That's right.
Okay? This is nothing new that's been perpetuated on our people, right? But now I'm going to read you one law, and I'll show you why these things happen to us. Leviticus 5:1.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 5 and verse 1. And if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing.
So now, it says if a soul sin is when we break God's commandments, all right? That's why we're reading to our people God's commandments. Because when we were in the Christian church, and ain't nothing changed, they never teach God's commandments. Read.
And is a witness whether he have seen or know of it.
So now you're a witness. You know about this thing, right? Whether you saw it firsthand, or whether one of your homeboys came and told you about what's going down, one of your sisters or cousins told you about what's going down. Read.
If he do not utter it.
If you do not what?
If he do not utter it.
That means speak to the authorities about it. Read.
If he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity.
So that means when it says he shall bear his iniquity, you are as guilty as the one that committed the crime.
Yes, Lord.
All right. Now, I want you to start down here and go to the next page. So what we getting ready to read about, that 23. What we getting ready to read about, there was a crime committed. This was back in like the 80s in Chicago, all right? There were two brothers, they killed a cop, all right? I want you to see how that affected the whole community, all right? Because, you know, we like to be like, when something happens, what do black people do? When the cops ask for a witness, what do black people do?
Bring it out.
What do black people do? I ain't seen nothing.
That's right.
Snitches get stitches. That's right. Ain't that what we do? That's why we read the law first. Let's see what happens.
Enthusiasm brought excess. Policemen began kicking down doors. Patricia and Alvin Smith claimed that plainclothesmen pointed guns.
Wait a minute, Raymond. Read that again from the top. Read it.
Policemen began kicking down doors.
Policemen looking for witnesses, looking for the criminals, began kicking down doors. Now wait a minute. That's exactly right. You see what I'm talking about? The Bible's a true book. Read on.
Patricia and Alvin Smith claimed that plainclothesmen pointed guns at the head of their 12-year-old daughter.
Wait a minute.
That's right.
Wait a minute.
Get out.
I asked you again, you love your sons, right?
I got a daughter.
Now, can you imagine the terror of seeing and being helpless watching the police point a loaded gun at your 12-year-old daughter, knowing your 12-year-old daughter ain't killed two cops?
Bring it out.
Two big burly cops with guns and with vests on, bulletproof vests.
Bring it out.
They know the 12-year-old didn't do that.
That's right.
That's fear tactics.
Right.
Read.
Adolf Thornton reported that the police had shot his 2-year-old German Shepherd.
So wait a minute. We gonna get you to speak. You know something, nigga. That's how they going. You understand what I'm saying? Read.
William Phillips, 32, a Chicago fireman, complained that he had been arrested for standing on a street corner.
So now, a black fireman, he gets arrested because they treated him, all they see was a black face.
Right.
He's a civil servant, and they didn't give no respect to the fact he's a fireman. Read.
One of his teeth was knocked out in the process. He complained that he had been arrested for standing on a street corner, that one of his teeth was knocked out in the process, and that he was later charged with disorderly conduct. Doris Miller, 45-year-old postal worker who had never been arrested.
Listen to this. This is a sister. A postal worker that had never been arrested. I want you to listen, sister. This is something that we have to protect our wives and our daughters. This can happen to you because of the sins of our people.
Was brought in for questioning because she was a neighbor of 2 suspects.
So wait a minute. Just because she lived near them, you guilty because you live near them.
She was handcuffed to a windowsill in an interview room, denied access to a toilet for about 14 hours, and ultimately had to relieve herself in an ashtray.
Now wait a minute. You're a woman, right? How humiliating is that for a woman? Because now you in an interview room wide open. You can't protect your private self, right? Right? Read.
The Reverend Willie Barrow of Operation Push said that in the neighborhood of the shooting, every young black male in sight.
This is the part I wanted to get to. Read that again.
Every young black male in sight.
Y'all young black men? Read that again.
Every young black male in sight was being stopped and questioned.
Every young black male in sight. What does that mean? Every last one of you. You could be a straight A student, and going to college and all that. It didn't matter.
That's right.
Read.
And the Defender, Chicago's African-American daily newspaper, quoted a woman who said that she had sent her son away because the police were crazy, picking up kids who clearly did not match the description of the 2 men who were wanted.
You see that? That's all. These police was picking up young men that clearly did not match the description. So whether it be a 12-year-old girl, whether it be an older sister that was working her job, a civil servant brother, a dog. Read that again.
The book of Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1. And if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing and is a witness, whether he have seen or know of it, if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity.
Now, give me Leviticus chapter 26 verse 14.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.